Good morning. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. So, we will try to do this presentation in two parts. I will try to cover the basics starting from the beginning of how the Sikh faith started and how the Sikhs ended up in America and what's going on right now. And then I think Nicole will give more how to use this information if you want to teach your students in a more academic, more professional way. I will give you the basics. How many of you think you have some knowledge about Sikhs? Raise your hands. So how many of you are high school teachers? Okay, quite a lot. And middle school? Primary? Anybody from college or university? We have. Great. So my presentation is very spread out, so hopefully it will help you understand very basics. Sikhs are the fifth largest faith in the world, and 65% of them still live in Punjab, which is in India, and 25% of Sikhs live in the rest of the India, and 10% live outside India, mostly in Western countries, and about close to 600,000 live in US and about 600,000 in Canada. Next. So this is something I personally believe, it's my philosophy, or I believe that we can measure the depth of the ocean with modern technology, but the depth of mind is limitless and immeasurable and cannot be put into the words. Human spirit is stronger than any man-made weapon or power on this planet. I think this spirit drives us, all of us. Doesn't matter who we are, what color, what background we are. I think that's what drives us, the human spirit. So I'm going to start with ancient India. We're going to talk a little bit about, this will be my structure of my presentation. Starting from ancient India, basics of Sikh faith, migration to US and the challenges faced by the earlier immigrants, then opening of the immigration after 1965, and a life after 9/11 to most of the Sikhs. Go ahead. So let's go to ancient India. So some of you probably have seen the map of India or South Asia. South Asia basically is a term which includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Maldives. So this is like a subcontinent. If you see those blue lines on the top, those blue lines represent rivers. So Punjab means, Panj means five, Ab means water. It's a land of five waters. So you must have heard the word Punjab. So it comes from the land of five waters. And although there are other rivers around it, these rivers kind of end up in Indus River. So you probably heard about the Indus Valley civilization. So this is an area of the world where one of the ancient civilizations started. So Indus Valley civilization goes back to 6000 BC. And then it was followed by Harappan civilization for 2500 to 1600 BC. And interestingly, Indus Valley takes credit for inventing the modern agriculture. So that's why Punjabis are one of the finest farmers in the world. Aryans crossed Hindu Kush. Hindu Kush is a name of mountain range which connects South Asia with Middle Asia. So the Aryans crossed this mountain about 600 BC, and that's when the ancient Vedas were written, the original Indian scriptures. And you all heard about Buddha, and Buddha also comes from same region, and he brought a new philosophy about 540 BC. Alexander, you probably all know better, came from Greece. He came all the way up to Punjab in 330 BC. And one of the Indian king, Ashoka, who's well known, became Buddhist in 250. He's the one who spread the Buddhism to rest of the world, and he sent missionaries all over. you probably, you're all grown up, you probably seen few years ago that there was some destruction of Taliban by Taliban of some statues of Buddha in Afghanistan, so that all those statues were built by Ashoka. Islam came to the Hinduism became dominant again after the Buddhism became like somehow not a dominant. It went outside India, but it kind of somehow disappeared in India after that, and the Hinduism became dominant again in about 650. Islam started entering India about 800 AD, and Guru Nanak was born in 1469. So Guru means teacher. You all probably hear this word. Gu means darkness, Ru means enlightenment or a knowledge. So basically, you're all teachers here. You help your students, educating them, get rid of the ignorance, and bring them some new knowledge. That's what Guru means. So Guru Nanak, who is considered to be a founder of Sikhism, was born in 1469. And some of his teachings were very revolutionary at that time. If you go back 550 years ago and to say, well, there is only one creator of all of us, God doesn't have any religion, and he said, well, there's equality of mankind, and even preaching equality of genders was definitely a revolutionary at that time. And he rejected the Hindu caste system and ritual, and he also challenged the kings. At that time, India was ruled by the invaders from Middle East, and most of them ruled in name of Islam, but they were not treating their own subjects very well. So he challenged that the kings should take care of their subjects irrespective of their whatever faith or whatever background they have. So Guru Nanak was followed by 9 more gurus. So the people who started following Guru Nanak's teacher were called students. Sikh means student, a learner, a seeker of a truth. So a lot of people ask, what does the Sikh means? The literal meaning of Sikh is a Sanskrit word, means that seeker of knowledge. So Guru is your teacher. So he was followed by 9 gurus, and after the 10th guru, he felt there was no need for a human guru. So they created a scripture, and they also included teachings of other people, not just Sikhs, which included Hindus and Sufi saints, and they created a scripture which we call Guru Granth Sahib. Guru means teacher, Granth means a compilation of scripture, and it has 1430 pages, and it's all written to musical notes. You can sing it, and every page you're supposed to sing in certain ragas and musical notes. So in Sikhism, the music has very deeper spiritual meaning, and if you go to any Sikh Gurudwara, which is a place of worship for Sikhs, so we have our scripture and we treat it like a living guru. So the Guru Granth is a very unique scripture. I mean, there are a lot of great scriptures in the world, but Guru Granth is very unique in a way that it was a special script made to write it, and it was not like, there's no stories in it. It doesn't say you have to be a Sikh or anything. It all says that be a good human being, be nice to others, take care of the society where you live, and it contains, as mentioned earlier, composition of 37 individuals, including other saints from other faiths, rich, poor, and basically it gives a message of perfect harmony with the rest of the society, and treat everybody equal. Keep going. So what do we believe in is often asked. The Sikhs basically strongly believe that we should exist affably on equal terms with the rest of the society or other people. The 10th Guru created the order of Khalsa, which is, I think, an important historical event. I'll come to that in a second. So we are often asked, what kind of a God you believe? The Sikhs believe that God is within every creation of Mother Nature. It's not just God is hiding somewhere or you're going to meet the God. It's within you. It's a self-realization, and the realization comes by serving the society. We strongly believe in equality, regardless of your ethnic, racial, or religious origin or beliefs. And as I mentioned already earlier, the gender equality is strongly stressed. And another thing at that time in India, the people who were spiritual people, they didn't believe in family life. They thought you need to go on a mountain and meditate and give up the family life. But the Sikh gurus taught that if you cannot take care of your family, you cannot take care of your society, your family obligation, how you can be a spiritual person? So you have to live in the world and be a family person at the same time being a spiritual person. So these are the fundamentals. I think if you can remember this from my presentation, that would be nice. These are the basics of what do we believe in. We believe we should always remember the Creator, and we should work hard and be honest and be willing to share with people who need, not just your family and your friends. You should be willing to give it to other people who need your help, or you can contribute to the society. And another thing which is unique to Sikhism is we don't say we are the only highway to God. We say, well, there are other ways to realize spirituality. You don't have to be a Sikh, or you don't have to be certain faith. I mean, these are different ways. You can get to San Jose on 280 or 101, it's your choice. So when you have these ideas, what happens? The kings, the rulers don't like it. So this was the first martyrdom came out of Sikhism. The fifth guru was literally fried alive. And because he refused to change the scripture, he was asked to make some changes, he declined. Next one. So fifth guru, Guru Arjan, he's the one who laid the foundation of Golden Temple. You probably all heard about Golden Temple, but we call it Harmandir. But Golden Temple term is used because it was gold plated later on. But it's unique about this place is it has 4 doors. That means open to people from all backgrounds, all races, all religions, all colors. And it's at the lowest point of the town. Usually the concept in India was that you have to go up to find the God. But Guru Arjan said you have to be very humble to realize your spiritual self. So that's the second, ninth guru, which was also basically beheaded by the Mughal ruler at that time, because he protested, because people were converted by the king at that time against their wishes. And Guru Tegh Bahadur said, no, people have a right to practice the religion of choice. We still face this challenge even at this time, but to say this something like this 350 years ago, that doesn't matter, you have a right to follow your. So this is ninth guru. Next one. And there are a couple of other concepts. We believe in selfless service, and some of the Sikhs claim that the Red Cross concept comes from the selfless service concept. I mean, I'm not saying is historically how to say, but this is how the Sikhs feel like the concept of the Red Cross. I mean, this is a long story. I think for sake of time, I'm going to skip that. If you ask me in a question answer session, maybe I will answer that. Next one. The other thing is, you go to any Gurdwara, you will find a free food. I mean, all comers, irrespective of who you are, you will be fed. And at that time, people in India, the different castes won't sit together and won't eat together. But the gurus made this rule, if you're going to come and meet me, you all have to sit together and eat. So now, I think this tradition has become universal among Sikhs, that you can go to any Gurdwara, you will find free food. So this is the 10th guru, the last living guru. After he lost his the father, the 9th guru, he realized that you can have great ideas, but if you are not willing to stand up in what you believe, people are going to walk over you. So you have to stand up and protect in your values. So he started the order of Khalsa in 1699. So this is how the Sikh appearance came into play. I mean, all Sikhs are not Khalsa Sikhs. There are a lot of Sikhs who follow Sikh tradition, but they may not be necessarily practicing the Khalsa tradition. But the Sikhs who are initiated, or in a Western concept, you call it a baptized. We don't have a baptized term. We call it an initiated Sikh. So they carry these 5 Ks, which has very deeper meaning. I mean, at that time, there were a lot of sages in India who will grow their long hair and they will never clean it. So Guru mandated that every Sikh has to grow their hair, because the Mughal king banned the non-Muslims to grow their hair at that time, because it was considered royal. The beards were considered a sign of royalty. So Guru said every Sikh is going to grow their hair, but they're going to keep it clean, and they're going to carry a sword, which is a kirpan, means a symbol of self defense and protecting the weak, and they carry a kada, to always remind you the existence of God. So don't steal and harm somebody. And the other thing was a special kind of underwear, which is a symbol of self-restraint, which is the most difficult thing even in modern days. Next one. So what happened? He paid a very heavy price. Guru's 2 kids were bricked alive by the king of Sarand at that time. But this is probably the most youngest people who were forced to convert, but they refused to convert, and they were bricked. I mean, that place still exists, which is very close to my hometown. The next one. And the Mughals put price on, if you find a Sikh with a hair, the Sikhs have to pay very heavy price for their appearance. Next one. So this is a painting showing that if you bring a Sikh head, you will get money. This is how they wanted to totally remove their existence. But keep going. So what happens? When you push people hard, what happens? Anybody raise a hand?
Fight back.
They fight back. They get strong. So what happened? So it's like a long history. The Sikhs became very strong. They didn't give up. They didn't surrender. They established their own kingdom. The Mughal rule was decimated by Sikhs in northern India. And the Sikhs, this is a painting of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He's one of the highest revered king. He was very open. He kept Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs all together. He did not discriminate people based on religion. He really established a very successful kingdom. But after that, what happened? This is like probably the first American who went to Punjab and had a Sikh-American friendship. This is just sharing history from 1832. He was an Irish guy who went to Punjab. Next one. So at that time, the British were the superpower. You all know the British. The East India Company came to India. They were already in India. It took them almost 100 years to annex Punjab. Punjab was the last part of the South Asia to become part of a British rule. So after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, there were 2 wars with, they're called Anglo-Sikh wars. Eventually British prevailed. And that was his son. He was probably the first Sikh to immigrate. Queen Victoria adopted him as her son and converted him and took him to England. But that's another story for another day. So, but I will come to how we ended up here. We're almost there now. So, this is simple, why people migrate. We all migrate, we want better life, we want more freedom. Sometimes we have political problems, or sometimes you come for family reasons, or so many other reasons. Keep moving. So what happened? When British came to Punjab, they initially tried to suppress Sikhs, but they were very smart. They realized that these people are very good fighters, very good soldiers. Why fight them? So they played a very smart trick. They started recruiting a lot of young Sikhs in British army, put them away from Punjab so they won't cause any problems in Punjab, and use them as mercenaries for British army. So the Sikhs were hired in large numbers in British army, and actually there were 200,000 Sikh casualties together in World War I and World War II fighting for British against the Germans. So the Sikhs played a big role as a part of British army. But I think this is something you should all read. I'll read it for you. So this is from San Francisco Chronicle, 1899, right here, 118 years ago. It says 4 Sikhs who arrived on Nippo Maru the other day were permitted yesterday to land by immigration officials. The quartet formed the most picturesome group that has been seen on the Pacific mail dock for many a day. One of them, Baksheesh Singh, speaks English with fluency, the other just little. They're all fine looking men. Bakhshit Singh in particular being a marvel of physical beauty. He stands 6 foot 2 inch and built in proportion. His companions Booth Singh, Baryam Singh, Sohawa Singh are not quite so big. All of the point I'm trying to make is all of them have been soldiers and policemen in China. They were in Royal Artillery, and tall one with unpronounceable name was a police sergeant in Hong Kong prior to coming to this country. So they say at the bottom they hope to make their fortune here and return to their homes in Lahore district. The Lahore is now in Pakistan. So they've been out of their home for 20 years. So that's the story. That a lot of the people who first came to California were basically, many of them were British soldiers. So they already have been in different parts of Southeast Asia. So this is the family of Bakhshit Singh, the fine-looking man in the middle, and his daughter, the one sitting in the lap. This picture is from 1916. Her name was Kartar Kaur Dillon, and she lived in Oakland. And I interviewed her about 17, 18 years ago, and she will describe how the Sikhs were treated in California at that time. Let's play that video. Yeah, just press on it. They had any problems getting jobs? I know it was hard for everybody, but was it different for Sikhs because they looked different, or was it just like anybody else?
No, it was not like anybody else. They looked upon Sikhs and Indians generally as freaks, as though we had come out of a circus or something. There was great cruelty against our people. There was, I just wish, when I answer questions like this, that I had the facts at my fingertips, but I don't. There was a Bellingham, Washington, state of Washington, where there was a massacre of our people. That was some of the worst things. And then there was something in Wheatland in California, where people were also murdered, and there was a number of incidents of very cruel things done to our people. Outside of the fact that, about getting work, our people always got work because they were such good workers. If they were in California, then they were already in Punjab. They had been farmers, and they knew what to do and how to take care of the land and cultivate things. If they were in Oregon, where the lumber industry was, then they were such hard workers, but they were paid less. This was the discrimination. They got one rate of pay, and the European immigrants who were workers got a higher rate of pay.
I think for sake of time, I'm going to move along. So I had a chance to talk to her, and she shared how things were. This is like 1920s and 1930s, but things were not easy here. So this is a story she's referring to. This is not a made-up story. There's evidence. This is a story from New York Times. Keep on moving. And this is how the media portrayed people from India at that time. Which is not very good. Even now, there are certain groups in our media can be misrepresented. Move along. So let's talk about US now. Things were not easy. There were certain parts of the world who were banned from coming to America. In 1790, the Naturalization Act restricted citizenship to only white people, and Afro-Americans were allowed citizenship after the Civil War in late 19th century. 1913, Alien Land Act, which said only citizen can buy land. You cannot buy properties. In 1917, Immigration Act, which barred immigration from India, Siam, Indochina, Afghanistan, Arabia, and parts of Siberia. You probably see similar news these days sometime. But this is how things were at that time. Next one. So you cannot be a citizen. You cannot marry, because interracial marriages were perceived to be illegal. So how are you going to survive? So some people found ways to survive. I'll come to that. So there was a gentleman who did his PhD from Berkeley, and he served in US Army in World War I. So he thought, being a veteran, he can be a citizen. So he applied for US citizenship. And the reason he applied, because there was a case, there was a Japanese American who was very, very fair looking guy, white looking in his skin. So he applied for US citizenship. US Supreme Court ruled that no, that apply, you have to be Caucasian by race. You know, you're not a Caucasian, although you're white looking. So Mr. Thind went to US Supreme Court saying, well, most of the North Indians are Caucasian. I mean, by race I'm Caucasian. And US Supreme Court said, you are a Caucasian by scientific method, but you are not perceived to be a white person by a common person on street. So you cannot be a citizen. So after this, many Asian Indians who had become citizens from some other methods, they all lost their citizenship. Many were refused marriage licenses, and interracial marriages were perceived as illegal. So this is Mr. Thind's picture. I really like what he said. He said, you must never be limited by external authority, whether it be vested in a church, man, or a book. It is your right to question, challenge, and investigate. So this is his picture just before he died in 1965, and he eventually became a US citizen. So what did they do? Most of the men, you know, they were all fine looking, well built men, because they all had served in army or police. So they worked on lumber mills, or they worked on farms, or they worked as laborers. So this is the first property the Sikhs bought in America, because there was an exemption in law, you can build a place of worship. So Stockton Sikh Temple is the first property owned by Indians or Sikhs who came to America. So first this temple still stands in Stockton if you ever have a chance. So what happened? So some of the Indians or Sikhs felt that maybe we are not treated well in America because we come from a country which is slave to British. Maybe we need to go back and liberate India. Actually, some of these were Berkeley students, and they went back. They were a part of a rebellion, and many of them went to jails or were hanged. The guy on the top, Mr. Kartar Singh, actually he was only 19 when he was hanged by British. So what really worked well for Sikhs was that a lot of Sikh men married Mexican women, because Mexico was, before it became part of US, was a Mexican territory. So a lot of Mexicans were already in California. They were also considered second class people just like the Indians were. So nobody noticed them marrying each other. Since they were citizens, so they were able to marry and buy properties in their name. So there are a lot of Sikh men married Mexican wives. So I mean, that part is very important. A lot of even Indians don't know that how the Mexican Indian relations, or how their how they became US citizens. So this is probably one of the pioneers, or I would say a monumental thing happened in US. After a lot of lobbying, the Lucy Seller Act was passed in 1946, which opened the doors for citizenship for people from India. So after that, they were able to apply for citizenship. Dilip Sond, this gentleman right now standing with President Kennedy, who was a senator at that time, he was the first Asian Indian, a first Sikh to become, or even an Asian, to become a US congressman, because he became citizen after Lucy Seller Act. So I will say the biggest thing which helped all the people from Asia to become US citizen was this law. I think everybody, I tell all my Sikh or Indian friends to have this in their bedroom, and they should always bow their head before this decision, because this decision really changed how America looks now. President Johnson Lyndon, when he was speaking at the Statue of Liberty, and this is part from his speech, he said this system violated the basic principle of American democracy, the principle that values and reward each other, each man on the basis of his merit as a man. I'm not going to go through this whole. So this is what it did. It opened the doors to people from India to come to US, so it brought a lot of new immigrants. I know I have a very couple of minutes left. I'm going to skip through these slides. You can keep going through these. I'm going to skip these. Okay, go back. So mean, after 65, things got great in America. We just became like anybody else. We became part of American community, became part of mainstream. People were doing just fine until the biggest tragedy happened in America when the Twin Towers were attacked. The turban became a symbol of terrorism because of the media keep showing those faces on the screen. So any American thought that you see somebody with a turban, they're danger to America. But they had no idea that people who tie turban in America, 99% of them are Sikhs. They are not from Middle East, and none of the terrorists had a turban. But unfortunately, all this misconception and misidentity started, and many people got attacked. There are hundreds of hate crimes, and many Sikh organizations came in existence to fight back. This is a doctor, Nijar. He was the first responder. He's a surgeon. He was right there after 9/11 helping people right there at the towers, and he walks out of there, people yelling at him. He said, I didn't even notice. I'm born in America. I'm a surgeon. Then he realized, there's something on my head is making me different than other Americans. Many taxi drivers got beaten up, killed, mugged. Next one. Next one. Next one. This is the person I'm talking to is Mr. Sodhi, Rana Sodhi, right in front of White House. He lost his 2 brothers. Keep moving. Keep moving. So keep moving. Keep moving. Yeah. So we still have a challenge that we are trying to get our right to serve in U.S. Army. I think there was a new law passed that you can't have a headgear, but I think we are making some progress. Next one. I'm going to skip that. Next one. So even go back. One of the students was refused their graduation from a school just having a turban. So we have to lobby for it. Next one. This is the first, the good thing about America is that, yes, you have challenges, but you can overcome them because we have a beautiful constitution. If you really stick to your values and fight within a system, you can overcome the challenge. So Sikhs have come a lot of challenges over the years. Next one. Sikhs went all the way up to President Bush. Sikhs developed very good relations with President Obama. He has done fantastic job with a lot of things to Sikh community. Next one. It's myself at White House. Next one. So this is a challenge every father faces when you have a kid, a boy especially, that are you going to raise them to your tradition or you want to give up what you are so your kids won't have problems? And who's going to help? You guys. Yeah, she will. So this is a book which you should use in a school. I'm sorry, because I raised 2 boys. I know what they went through. Next one. So what I believe is that don't give up. You have to educate. You have to educate, and you guys have to educate others. Go back. I'm almost done. Sorry. So we did a lot of lobbying, and we worked with our assemblyman. We got a resolution passed by California State Assembly. You can use this opportunity. November is considered as a Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month every year. So that will allow you to use this month as some kind of a teaching tool to your students. And I think Nicole will share some of the materials. Next one. So some people still think that we need to melt everybody, right? We need to melt anybody who comes here. They need to be melted. And if you melt everybody, what's going to happen? It's going to come like this, right? Or we have a better option. We can keep our diversity, but we should be American in our values. The appearance doesn't matter. Appearance could be very misleading, both ways. Somebody you think is American could be very un-American, and somebody you think is not American may be the best American. So this is what I believe, truth is higher, but still higher is truthful living. You can't just talk about truth, but don't live it too. So these are the resources. I think Nicole is going to talk about teaching materials. We will be happy to arrange you a tour to a Gurdwara or a Sikh temple, wherever you live. Just send me email. We will arrange it for you. If you want to take your students to have experience having a free food and see the place, just experience.